I'm George Self. This video is one in a series designed to help with the R labs for BASV316 Introductory Methods of Analysis. This is lab number 2, Central Measures. Central measures are a way to describe the very center of an entire vector of values. Now, I'll be using this word vector a lot throughout this lab and others to follow. And you should understand that in R, a vector is nothing more than a list of related items. Oh, for example, I could have a vector of street names like Elm, Maine, First, and Raven. Or a vector of test scores may look like 83, 91, 76, 88. If you are thinking about an Excel spreadsheet, a vector is an entire column of data, all of the values in one column. Now, I use the word vector because that's the way R refers to those values. And in case you ever look up something about R at a place like Stack Overflow or some online source, you see this word vector, and I don't want you to get confused. It's a simple concept, just the values in a single column of data. All right, so we're going to look at a way to find the very center of a column of data. Now, one of the first measures is nothing more than the number of items in the vector. That's usually abbreviated N. Now, technically, N does not identify the middle of a column. However, it's an important value to be able to calculate. And frankly, I didn't know where else to put that in this lab, so we're going to use it here. Now, to find the number of items in a vector, or N, we use the length procedure. And you'll see here in our demonstration that we have the length of the vector eruptions in the faithful data frame. This is an interesting data frame, by the way. These are these are measures of the times of the eruptions for the old faithful geyser in Yellowstone Park. It's an interesting little data frame. If I run this, I can see that the length of the eruptions vector is 272. That tells me there were 272 different eruptions recorded in this one data frame. So for our guided practice, using the attitude data frame, find N for critical. So I'm going to just copy from here. I can copy that. And let me paste it in here. Now, certainly I could just type this in if I wanted to, but it's easy enough to copy and paste. In future labs, some of these R commands will be pretty long and involved, and it's much better to copy and paste them so that you avoid the risk of a typo. At any rate, I want the length of attitude, $critical. And I can run this, and I see that there were 30 different attitudes in this particular data frame. So the activity to submit for grade is I need the length in the cafe data frame of the age vector. And I run that, and I see 375. So there were 375 observations in this cafe data frame. That is, 375 different customers came into the restaurant, came into the cafe, and recorded their age in our survey. Next is mean. Now, the mean is calculated, and I show you here how to do that. Oh, this is the value when, as an elementary student, you probably learned this as the average. You add together all of the values and then divide by the N, the number of values. In our demonstration, I've made a point here to let you know that there are 6 different examples of finding a mean here. Each of these lines is one example. I've put 6 of them in here just so you can see exactly how this works. I'll click Run. And here are the means for all of those different examples. Our guided practice, well, I know I'm going to need a mean, so I'm just going to go ahead and copy this and then scroll down here. For the guided practice, I need to find the mean in the attitude data frame of critical, and run that. And I see the mean is 74.76. And by the way, for all of the work that you'd submit for this class, it's fine if you round to 2 decimal places. Well, let me go ahead and copy this command because I know that works. And I'll scroll down to the activity, paste that in. And for the activity, I need the cafe data frame, and I need to find the mean for age. And I see the mean age for our customer is 43.26 years. Now, trimmed mean is the same as the mean, except we trim off each end by a certain number of observations. Now, we do this to get rid of what's called outliers. That is, if we have a whole group of data, but there are 1 or 2 especially big values or especially small values, it would be nice to just trim those off so we get a better representation of the middle of that data frame. And there's some information here to show you how. Our demonstration, I trim first 15% off of each end of the Attenu data frame, the Excel value. And Attenu is the attenuation of a bunch of earthquake data. Acceleration is the acceleration of the Earth during the earthquake. And this has some outliers. Most earthquakes are kind of the same size, but there are a few especially large earthquakes. And so to get rid of some of those extraneous values, first I trim 15% off of the data, and then I trim 25%. And when I run this, you'll see that the mean for just Excel was 0.15. When I trim 15%, that mean drops down to 0.12. When I trim 25% off, the mean drops down to 0.11. So our guided practice, well, I'm going to go ahead and copy this. Oh, no, let me note that we want to find the mean for critical with 15% trim. So I may as well copy this one line that has the 15% trim already. And let me paste that in here. You'll notice I skipped a line here accidentally. It doesn't matter. R doesn't care if you skip a line or 2. So we want the value of critical with 15% trimmed in the attitude data frame. So I'll do attitude and critical. And we trim 15%. We run this. And it tells me that that mean is 76.04. Now, if we round this to 2 decimal places, it would be 76.05. So now we have the activity. We're going to trim 15%. So again, I can go ahead and just copy this command. And I will paste it in here. And we're going to trim 15% on the cafe data frame and the miles variable. And I run this and I see it's 14.97. The median is another central measure. To find the median, you put all of the values in order, numeric order. Then you simply count from the top to the middle and see which value is in the middle. This is another way to try to get rid of outliers, those especially large values on either the top or the bottom. And you can see all of the information I have written here as an introduction. The median, the command actually looks almost exactly like mean, except you use the word median instead of mean. So like mean, I've given you 6 different examples of finding the median. I can run those, and there they are. Let me go ahead and just copy one of these, and I will paste it in here, because now our guided practice, I need to find the median for critical in the attitude data frame. And if I run that, there it is, works fine. Since I know this works, I will copy that. And for the deliverable, I will paste that in. But now I need the median in the cafe data frame for Bill. And run that. And there you go. Mode is another measure of the center of a data frame. That's when you have categorical data. Oh, for instance, if I were on a survey to ask what is your favorite type of pet, cat, dog, rat, snake, or whatever, there's no way to calculate the mean of that because those are text values. Those are words, they're not numbers. So what we do is the mode. And for mode, we simply count up the number of times each of those types of pets appear, and we report the type of pet with the greatest number of reports. Now that's actually done with a process called a frequency table, and frequency tables are introduced down in Lab 5. So for Lab 2, I don't do anything else with mode. I simply mention it because oftentimes in books of statistics you will see that mode is listed as a type of central measure. That's about it for this lab. Good luck with your lab. As always, please do not get too frustrated as you work on your labs. If something doesn't seem to be working, then stop. Contact me and I'll be glad to help. Good luck with your lab. I'll be seeing you online.